Hey Libra, this is your year ahead forecast using the tarot looking at 2023. I've pulled 2 cards for each month from different decks so that I can see if there's any themes doubling up or repeating through the year, just so I can tie it together. For August, you actually have the Strength card doubled down, so it's going to be really cool to get into that month as there is a strong message coming through. But for now, let's get to January, and the first card that was pulled is the Four of Pentacles. I also have the Wheel of Fortune coming through in January. So initially when I saw the Four of Pentacles, I said, okay, there's a couple of things Libra could be doing in January: holding themselves back from something, being too reserved, and not letting loose. So certainly there could be an energy of not wanting to be too loose with your purse strings, and this is you perhaps being very much in the Capricorn season flow of considering what you have, stockpiling even, initiating a plan that will last over the course of the year, like a more long-term goal. This also could be a focus on saving money and not being wasteful with your resources. But then there's this wonderful opportunity for you in January. It could be very spontaneous, out of the blue. It could be something that requires you actually to let loose and just to live in the moment, Libra. This could be a last minute trip. This could be something of an aligned encounter with another, and you think, oh, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if that would be for me. I haven't planned for this, and it's a little bit out there. But some of you really take on this opportunity and just go for it. This is about January, an unexpected turn of events that you didn't quite plan for, but it ends up being super fulfilling, and you know, it just like a spontaneous, exciting. So follow your joy in January. You can still be sensible. You can still, this is like a very like battening down the hatches and hunkering down. And it's very much about like, no, I need to be sensible. I need to save my money, and I just need to, you know, kind of shut myself away and make a plan and be practical. And that is all well and good. But if opportunities of a lifetime or opportunities that you weren't expecting crop up, I say go for it, because it seems like these would bring you a lot of good fortune, good luck, and happiness. But other than that, if it's not a situation that randomly presents itself to you, it does seem like you begin the year holding something back. Maybe you haven't spoken about a situation to your family or friends yet, and you're holding it very close to your heart here. But it can get heavy there, and this card can sometimes be very weighed down, and it could just suggest that there is something that, even on a subconscious level, it's holding you back. Perhaps there's a situation that's somewhat out of your hands. There's no resolution yet. It could be legal, it could be financial, but for me it's just like you can't do anything about it, and unbeknownst to yourself on some level, it seems like this is actually limiting your flow. So then when something comes up and it's like, oh my god, do it, go for it, you may hold yourself back from that even, and feel like it's just not the right time, or you didn't plan for it, and you're trying to fight against something. Let's look at the month of February. So another major arcana card coming through with the Emperor card. Well, this could be, of course, daddy issues cropping up, but it could be issues that are coming up with the parental figures in your life or figures in authority in your life. And it's kind of probably time for you to become the main authority in your own life, right, Libra? And this Emperor card is suggesting that the time is now for you to take some control. There is a theme of the year, like I saw Strength card coming through, doubling down in August, where, you know, it really is important for you to start to take control, accountability, and responsibility. And the Emperor card tells me that you are in a really solid place to begin to talk about your feelings. The Page of Cups comes through with the Emperor card. This is a childlike card too, so I am getting the theme of parent-child relationship coming through in February. I'm getting the theme of inner child work, looking back at the past and seeing how your personality, your responses are shaped in some way by how you were brought up or where you were brought up and that experience. It seems like you have some sort of a spirit guide coming through. I see this Page of Cups as like this little fish popping out of a cup. It's like, oh, hi, how are you doing? This is some sort of a guide that's coming through in an unexpected way. If that's not really to your liking, it does seem like there's somebody that you can really trust to begin to unpack some of what has been causing you to pull yourself back on an emotional level and not always have the confidence to go for these experiences that are really going to enrich your life. There's somebody that's shown themselves to be very stable for you, trusting, and allows you to start to explore this sort of inner child work, or even start to unpack some trauma. This could be, of course, working with a professional, somebody that you can speak to on that level and can provide some sort of another perspective. But of course, let me see, did I lose a card? No. But of course, this could also be relating to a father or father figure in your life. Maybe you are a parent, and perhaps it's like you start to let your hair down a little more and engage with your own children or your own inner child in a more playful way. But the Emperor tells me that you are in a stable position. Four, these are both the number 4s, and 4 is about concrete manifestation and stability. The 4 of Pentacles, you're in a position financially where you're okay at the beginning of the year, so you don't need to worry about that, and that might actually let you spend some money if you need to talk to a professional in February, or take these opportunities to just do something random for yourself and fun. Then it also suggests that you're in a position where it's time to start taking responsibility for things that you've been pushing away or ignoring. A situation with a father figure, an authority figure, or a boss may come up for you in the month of February. For some of you, I'm sensing that you're going to be like, if this isn't bringing me fun, like you start to prioritize fun and enjoyment and play a little bit more in February. So you're not really afraid of this strict authority figure anymore, because you are beginning to become the authority on how you spend your time and who you spend it with. In March, there is a situation with the romantic relationship that's coming through. If you're in a relationship already, it seems like there's something about this relationship that you can't fully share with others. There is some tone of not secrecy, but I'm not seeing full transparency here either. If you're single, there could be a relationship that comes into your life where for whatever reason you can't fully talk about it. You may though be just planning a surprise event or party for the person that you love or a close friend of yours, and that's what all the secrecy is about. There is something that you're trying to execute in March. It's something that it's very important for you to achieve this goal, but there's a fear around letting people in and help, like accepting any help. For some of you though, there is this tone of a secret relationship or some sort of a friendship in your life that you can't fully explain. For whatever reason, I don't know if you've seen that movie Midsommar. This is kind of like about this, and like the protagonist in this movie, she was in a relationship, and it wasn't until she went through a series of like quite transcendental or experimental or out there, kind of far out of her comfort zone. These kind of experiences led her to the truth about the quality of her relationship. I'm getting that vibe here. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but this could be a month where you are having a very mystical experience. It is Pisces season, so the lines between like what's real and what's not are quite blurred anyway for the collective, but it seems like you're really enjoying this energy of like mysticism, transcendence, and experimentation, romance. I see you like frolicking in March, and I just see you kind of like, I don't know, like engage, like really attached to nature, and some sort of an experience you have, it opens your mind massively. If there's no sort of secrecy around a relationship in March, and that's not what I'm picking up on, an experience leads you to have a very eye-opening awareness and a sort of breakthrough in consciousness around the quality of the relationships in your life. And do they serve you? Are they in alignment? Are you authentic in these relationships? Do they represent the most authentic you? And this is going to become kind of important to you, because you do sort of, when you come back down to earth in March and come back down to reality, you start to see that you have to move forward in such a way that it's just really important that this is authentic. When we see the Seven of Swords, the way this person is moving forward, it's not going to work out for them. There's something futile about this because it's not fully thought through yet, or it's just missing something. There's a missing link here, and you don't want to have any missing links in any of your relationships. But other than that, I just see like festivals, you may be going to something that's very artsy, very like kind of hippy dippy is what I'm seeing. I'd love to be doing something like that. It looks really fun, but it seems like it's an out of this world experience, something that's very not your norm. And this year could be, at least the beginning of the year, could be about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. You start the year in this Four of Pentacles, like everything has to go according to plan, like and somewhat holding yourself back, and the opportunities for fun and travel and exploration and doing something different present themselves right away. So this could be some sort of a soul growth for the year ahead, basically. You don't have to do everything and you turn down whatever you want, but you shouldn't be holding yourself back, I think is the message. All right. So we enter eclipse season in April and May. So this is going to be interesting, Libra, because the eclipses are beginning to move from the axis of Scorpio, Taurus to your sign, Libra, and Aries. While the eclipse in April is in Aries, then they will move into Libra closer to the end of the year. Let's look at April. The beginning of the eclipse season, and April indeed does look like one of the trickier months of the year. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real with you, Libra. Of course there's going to be trickier months of the year, c'est la vie, but you're going to be well able. But this does look like a month where things start to get a little heavier. And the Ten of Wands can be that heaviness around how much you've taken on, and it's not really in an act of self-love here. You've said yes to things that you shouldn't have. You have been, you know, the sort of like, yeah, I can do it, like pile it all on me, my needs don't matter, and of course they do. And you're going to face burnout, and you're going to disappoint yourself and others, or at least run the risk of doing those things when you take on what is not yours to carry. So this could be a month where you're just burned out, overburdened, overworked, undervalued, and it seems like this comes at the expense of your emotional well-being. This could be a month where you are facing losses rather than gains, a temporary experience, of course, but the Five of Cups does remind you to remember that all is not lost. The cups on the ground represent what's gone, and the cups behind you are what are still there and available to you. So you do, of course, make these cups full and double them up actually in a couple of short months. We see the Ten of Cups, that happiness restored in July. However, in June. In April, there is an emotional situation that's weighty, and reach out if you need to people that can help you through this, because the Ten of Wands is also about delegation. Like, can you help me with this? Take off one of these wands for me. You have a couple of tens in the reading. Well, of course, the Wheel of Fortune is a 10, but I'm more so looking at the Ten of Cups, Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Swords. This would tell me that this is more so a year of ending cycles in your life, and sort of the new beginnings haven't fully been made space for yet, because there are several areas of your life that have been growing in maturity and wisdom for so long now that 2023 might be the year of culmination, of success, of reaching the pinnacle, the final point on certain situations or activities. And in April, you may realize like where you've been pushing yourself for too long on, where you aren't really gaining any new experience or growth, and you may kind of have to reach out and say, I need some help here. That's why in February I do see the opportunity to connect with somebody and to begin to lay the groundwork of some sort of emotional release. It's really important that you just have somebody in your life, and if you can, of course, even if it's yourself, like if you can really be real with yourself and like trust your inner voice and get really go internally. It can be hard. It's not an easy feat to do this, but there should be somebody where you can be completely honest with, and that it would be ideal if there was like some unbiased guidance or perspective or just support, a listening ear. because in April it seems like that could be really useful for you so that you're not completely bogged down and in a more pessimistic mindset overall. So eclipse season goes into May as well, and I see that the situation from April is improving at this stage, but it's still tense. So the Five of Wands is continued tension there. It's not as, I guess, weighty as the Ten of Wands, of course. Now there's only 5, but it's not like easy breezy either. It's not plain sailing quite yet. That's June. But in May, you're like still trying to figure it out at least, but there's communication issues all around. There is there is some sort of a confrontation perhaps that's likely, but the Page of Wands in reverse is like blurting something out or something been spoken that is like it really gets your back up, or it really gives you pause, and it makes you think about things and like think about how you can trust certain people, or like do people have your best interest at heart. Even the Five of Wands and the Page of Wands, it's a lot of external noise, it's a lot of drama, pettiness, and could be arguing, it could be like inner strife. And that's where I think these strength cards are coming through in August. Like at that point, you have complete control over any of those hostile or opposing forces within you and without. So you have to go through certain experiences to learn and to grow. So meanwhile, they're not always the most pleasant in the moment. By August, or in hindsight, you'll be able to see how valuable these experiences were. The Five of Wands and the Page of Rods or Page of Wands, communication, people that are bothering you, and group dynamics being difficult, not being able to get a response, or getting the wrong kind of response or the undesired response. It could just be blurting something out, it could be getting the wrong end of the stick, but it looks like you're at least like moving through whatever was difficult in April and trying to find solutions, but they're just not so cut and dry, and it still takes a little effort and work. Now by June, you're finishing the start of the year, this first half of the year, in my opinion, in the best place you've been all year so far, judging by these cards alone. And remember, Libra, these cards are just providing a snapshot of your year ahead. This isn't going to necessarily be the theme that takes up all 30 days of the month. This is just something that may appear that seems relevant, or seems like it has a reason for you to look at it. So for June, this is a really beautiful month. I have the King of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups. The emotional situation from April, from February, from March even, is now being positively resolved. You feel like you have a grasp on it. You feel like it's like this worked out the best way it could have. Even if it wasn't how you planned it to work out, it works out better than you could have imagined, and it's a massive sigh of relief. It's more than a sigh of relief. You're in the flow, like you're in tandem with creation, happiness, growth, and you're in tandem with, I guess, just like beautiful experiences and having a beautiful life, and like that sort of sense of wonder and awe, companionship, love, and harmony. This card is really gorgeous. Usually I see the Ten of Cups with like a tribe of people or a community or a family, but this is just two people. It could be the relationship from March is really clear to you now. There's a sense of being able to share what was going on there, or there's a sense of like understanding the people in your life and having them understanding you more. You feel heard, you feel seen, you feel really loved and cherished by June. And this seems like any emotional situations of the year so far are now reaching a positive culmination, turnaround, and it's all's well in the end. So financially, you're in the best place you've been all year too so far. The financial situation of your year just kind of seems to be on the rise from June onwards. And by June, you're in a really luxurious place. You've worked hard to get here. This doesn't necessarily have to be a windfall of money. It certainly could be an unexpected windfall. But it seems to me that for the most of you, it's investments that are paying off, or your hard work and effort that is now like paying off, and you are getting those tangible results. So any artistic pursuits or anything you want to buy or invest in for your future, this looks like it's a really good time to do it as well. So you're just really enjoying yourself in June, and everything has started to resolve, and you're in just like a really healthy and strong place. Your physical body, that seems to be something that becomes a focus for 2023. Sort of prioritizing your physical strength, health, and well-being is something that pays off for you, and you like, again, I think you have to take a lot of control and responsibility for your own life this year, and like why are things the way they are. February is a good time to sort of have like for somebody to sort of listen. I'm just after noticing that the Emperor, these kind of look like ears, right? Lend an ear, like, or sort of somebody gets to hear you out and they're able to kind of help you understand, like, well, maybe it's because of this is why this cycle happens or whatever. And then you're like, oh yeah, I need to take responsibility for that now. And like, nobody's coming to save me, I have to save myself. And indeed you do, because you really put a focus on your overall like body, your position in the world, and your own sort of like, you are the authority of your own life. That comes up as a major theme for 2023 overall. So in July, you have a mission to complete in July. It involves moving a lot. This could be a time where you do physically make a move, or where you just find yourself like on the daily grind, like for the bulk of the month. Like you don't have a lot of time to rest necessarily, but that's okay because you're highly motivated. You have a very strong sense of purpose and direction, and there's no stopping you in July. Like you're like, okay, I have to complete it. Like it's not like it's now or never, but there's just like a real urge to get this done, to get to where you want to be. You're highly motivated. You're at the top of your game in terms of your professional life in July, in terms of like, if you're in any way a competitive person, or you play competitive sports, or the field that you're in professionally is super competitive, you're a cut above the rest. And you just, I really see like the strength of August. It's like you get the results you want in August because you apply yourself so much in July. So it's like putting in the effort in July to get the payoff in August. And that seems to be where your focus is. So the 8 of Cups coming up with that as well. It's still movement, but it is about like, okay, I've defined my purpose, I've defined my main goals and objectives for the rest of the year. Now it's nose to the grindstone, and what do I need to walk away from? There is no shame in just like pushing something that, you know, you maybe have put a certain amount of time and love and care into it. But at the end of the day, there is no shame in walking away from something that is more so draining of you than anything else. So you do move on from something on an emotional level. I guess for me, it's kind of coming up as a part of a job. Like you had one thing, like maybe your job has many assets or many facets, I should say, and you have many assets, of course, Libra, but like maybe there's just one facet of the job. You're like, okay, I'm just not going to focus on as much on this anymore. I'm going to pick up this other skill, or kind of focus on this area of the work instead. And maybe that's unexpected to you. You thought you'd always be doing what you're doing, but it's totally okay to make a change. And if there was a situation that in January you were like, this planning in January, like this is like, okay, what's on my plans? This thing in July could have been part of this plan in January. So it could be quite a recent goal, but you may be realizing, no, I'm actually not going to pursue that the way I thought I was. I'm getting so much more results and recognition, and I just have that lust for life around something else that gives you really strong results in July. So it's kind of like an easy toss-up, I think. Okay, I mean, we've touched on these cards already, but in August, the Strength card coming through twice, I was like, oh, damn, okay. So this is, I mean, they're major arcana cards, so it can be a little vague, but it's courage, it's control. It's control over any opposing forces within you. If there's any hostile or opposition outside of you, your physical self, your internal workings, your beliefs, your values, your core essence, you have complete control in August. So use your control in what's highest and best for all concerned, and you'll be paid back handsomely. So you have got this sense of fearlessness. So your biggest fears, we all have them. They're really not something that, and you maybe always thought, like, I always thought I'd be afraid of this. Like, I had a breakthrough on a phobia that I had for years in 2022. It was so incredible, and I quite literally had to be pushed into the eye of the storm of my worst fear to actually in that moment be like, oh, I'm not afraid of this at all. And it's like that you lose so much fear and get to step into a more loving and higher vibrational frequency radiating from your heart. You could of course be dealing with a Leo. It is Leo season, so maybe you will be really exemplifying the qualities of Leo in August, stepping into the spotlight, creating because you want to create, having joy in every moment of your month, let's hope, and just like being really playful, being like fun and letting your hair down. So this is like that letting loose, your primal energy, dancing like no one's watching. Because in January it's like, oh, I want to do that, I want to let loose, and this something is coming up which would really encourage me to just shake it all off, and like I'm hearing like a lion's roar, and maybe there is something in you pent up in January, but by July, by August, that primal energy begins to like let loose in you, and you're really like living your most authentic self in August, and people are noticing. It's Leo season. I'm imagining you like with like light emanating from every part of you, and that's so inspiring because people are going to pick up on that and gravitate towards that, and your magneticism is rubbing off on others, and it's just like good vibes all around in August. So you're in a really strong place. This also suggests, and especially with, of course, April and May being more tense, and March just being like, when is Pisces season not weird or jarring? But it's we're very multi-dimensional people, so it is like in March you stepping into another dimension, and you're like, whoa, but like you're like whirlwind, like, oh, back down to earth. Like, that was weird. Would I change it? Definitely not. But like, okay, there's more to this life than meets the eye. April and May, your soul has evolved through, I guess, Pisces season, and April and May is where you're challenged on some level. June, you are really coming back into your own, and actually more, you're really, really like content, happy, glowing, radiating. So then radiating, that doesn't sound good, that sounds like a microwave. Radiating joy. So I got rid of my microwave. Actually, it broke in about 2018, and I just took it from a message from like spirit, like, you don't need this. And so when things like that happen, I don't really like, I'm just like, oh, it broke. I've probably been meaning to get rid of this crock of shite anyway. Microwave, so random. Maybe you get rid of your microwave this year. I'm not advising you to do that. Like, maybe it really works for you. It didn't work for me. The 9 of Wands is about perseverance and strength and determination and a need to keep going. I can imagine one of my Libra friends watching this just being like, Kate, microwave, what? That's so funny. But the 9 of Wands is like this determination, and then by August you're like, damn, that really took a lot out of me, but it's like incredible at the same time, like what I was able to overcome and what I achieved and how like good I feel and embodied and everything. Your physical health is also something that's really maybe the best it's been in a long time in August too. I love it. I'm just, tell me how August goes for you, how Leo season is. But it could be a rise in your popularity, your visibility, recognition, spotlight. What else is Leo? You feel validated. Okay, so in September, you are, I suppose, taking a trip. Could be something that's obvious here with the 3 of Wands, but you're waiting on something. You're either waiting on something or you're running from something in September. So I do see like this turning your back on your problems coming up, because I have the 5 of Swords here. It's like you just want to run into the sunset, ignore everything that's really happening, you know, whatever, a bit of escapism, nothing wrong with that. And like, you know, there's always a time and a place to address what you need to address head on, and oftentimes it's good to do that right away, right? But there is certain times where you need some space to digest something. And the Five of Swords can talk about mistakes, but also then the solutions to the problems. That comes through just as equally with the Five of Swords. So maybe it is that you need to turn your back. Maybe it is that you need to take a little space to get away so that you can have the perspective in order to start solving the problems or issues that are coming up in your life at this time. Sometimes getting away on a trip or traveling or taking some time off, if that is possible, that can be a really good way to kind of separate yourself from like what's kind of right in front of you and what seems like you just can't find the solution right now. So there is this kind of like running from problems, but it's not in a like futile way. It's like, no, this is going to be the best thing. If I can just get a little bit of space, then I'll know what to do. There's also this like waiting for something to happen. Be mindful of that. I see the Five of Swords as a warning here. If you want something, or if you know something is like a ticking time bomb, don't wait for it. That's when I think it might be wiser to face something head on in September. So your financial situation in October is just really blossoming very well. Everything that you've been growing for the year on a professional level, investment level, projects, and the return on all your hard work. And also, what else would this be? Any projects, yeah, I suppose that would be coming through. They're really like fine-tuned at this point. There isn't so much work that still needs to go into them. Things are kind of running very smoothly for you, and they're almost looking after you themselves. Now, of course, you do still have the Midas touch, and it was due to you and your finesse and your sort of attention to detail. That's really how they've gotten to be what they are. So don't take your eye off the ball totally, but you can take a step back from certain things at this point because the focus and the hard work and effort has already been put in there. The Ten of Swords coming through from that. Now, if we run from our problems, or if we wait for the ticking time bomb and kind of like la la la, or like ostrich head in the sand, that's kind of like the Five of Swords is starting to warn you in September. Is there something that is like liable to cause you pain and distress or hurt others, or just kind of become something that could eventually become unbearable for you? Then September is a month to try to approach that rather than like waiting for it to happen and being in any denial about something. But on the other storyline of that month, it's like you're in a really stable place and you're very proud of yourself. So just be mindful of some issue that could reach a critical turning point really quickly, or like could go from 0 to 100 like that. You don't want to lose control, especially since you have been doing the work, the inner work, so much in 2023, where by August you're like, now I've got it all, I understand it all, I understand myself, I feel like myself, I'm in control, and not in a domineering way, like I'm in control, like and you don't feel out of control, and you feel like you have a really good grasp on things. So just to watch out for what is in your hands, like what you can control, and what remains out of your hands September to October. And it's okay to have a little distance and space, but you don't want to run too far from your problems, and kind of ignoring a situation isn't necessarily going to make it go away. All right. Let's see, we're coming up to the end of the year in November and December. We still have 2 major arcana cards and 2 court cards for the end of the year. I see a massive spiritual breakthrough. Oh, I should remind you that actually October is eclipse season again, where we'll be having our first eclipse in Libra at that point. So this could be around your sense of self, that there's been a turning point, and there could be even in October, like very clearly knowing what's working for you and what gives you positive results time and time again, and has been for quite some time now. and then at the same time what is absolutely not working, and we're done with that. So eclipses can signify major beginnings, major endings, major turning points in our lives, in the story of our whole life, right? So let's look at September, or November. You, in a sense, are reborn, but you can't quite take the action yet. That's the Hanged Man. There's a very spiritual quality to the month of November for you. It seems like you are able to let go of everything that has been holding you back so far. The year starts with you holding yourself back or being held back, even though the universe is encouraging you to go for it. And you may use January as a litmus test of how much you're holding yourself back, because as opportunities for kind of like last minute sort of adventure or spontaneity or synchronization, as they line up, how easy is it for you to align yourself to that? If it's more difficult, then by November, it seems like you have the breakthrough and perspective you need about the essence of your life, and just without being morbid, but just like mortality, and like you kind of say, well, life is too short, life is too for living, and you kind of get a glimmer into the veil is thin in November, and you kind of get to see what's on the other side, and like that there's more to it all, and you're ready to sort of have a rebirth of sorts. Now, the rebirth takes some time to sort of execute on the physical realm. You spiritually have this breakthrough, and oftentimes during a spiritual ascension, it can take some time for the body to catch up with that, because if there's been an evolution in consciousness, that won't last forever. That will happen, but then you have to sort of live in this new embodied way with a different sort of awareness, a different sort of clarity. So it seems like a massive spiritual breakthrough occurs in November for some of you. And it's like you see the truth, basically. The illusion is pierced and you're able to see the world in a different way. It may be insights into yourself. It may be insights into the world around you. In the month of December, this is massive, like back to school energy. Some of you may quite literally be considering going to college, university, school, or studying something again. We have the very wise teacher and the very diligent student. Now, the student is as vital as the teacher, of course, and like you can sort of see how good of a student you are by how much you're getting out of it, how much you can apply yourself to something. You could be learning under somebody else. You could be instructing and leading others and sharing your wisdom with others. You're communicating something in the world, and you have something to say by the end of the year, a message to share. It's all about your wisdom and everything you've been through. The Hierophant is very much about embodied life experience and like as close to the truth as we can get. But you've got 3 pages in this reading, in fact. So that's quite a lot. You know, the 3 pages would be suggesting to me that communication is important. You may write a book this year, you may publish something, you may be just considering more sort of like your communication skills, be it like written, be it like video, all the other ones. Like I don't have good communication skills, so I suppose like anything that you're trying to communicate a message to the world through whatever medium that you desire to do it, you have a strong message to say and an important story to tell this year. And you know, it could be a year where, like, if you were to ever write a book, this might be a year where like there's a lot of juicy plot lines, but it's a year of, I basically think like there is no more, and I'm not saying that you do this, but there is no more playing small. There is no more victim mindset, okay? This is a year where you take command, responsibility. No one is coming to save you. You do that for yourself, and it's a really enriching experience when you do. Oh, you have help, you have support, you have people who love you, you have ancestors that are just like, look at Libra go. Yes, that's all there for you too, but it's about you maturing this year, I think, and Yeah, looks good. Libra, thank you so much for watching your year ahead forecast. As always, just take what resonates and leave the rest. This is for all the Libras out there, so not every single message or month may directly apply to your experience, and that's totally okay. Please consider subscribing to this channel to help it grow. Much love, see you soon.